My name is Megan, and I'm a 21-year-old nursing student at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm the epitome of the fit college girl stereotype, standing at 5'7" with a lean, toned body from years of yoga and running. My hair is a bright, almost glowing blonde, cascading down my back in soft waves. I've been told I'm quite the stunner, with my big blue eyes and a smile that could light up any room. My chest, not too large but perfectly shaped, fits well into my favorite pastel-colored bras, today opting for a soft blue one that matches my mood. Living in America, I've embraced the casual yet chic style of college life. At home, I prefer the comfort of shorts and a pastel t-shirt, either pink or blue, depending on my mood. I never wear socks inside. I detest them. Instead, my feet, sized at a US 6.5, are always adorned with some form of nail polish. My favorite color is white, giving my toes a clean, fresh look that I adore. Home life has been complicated, to say the least. My stepdad, John, has been part of our family since I was in high school. He's always been kind, supportive, but there's this unspoken tension between us, a complexity I've never fully understood until now in my college years. "Megan, how was your day at school?" John would ask, his voice carrying a hint of genuine concern. "Busy as always, John," I'd reply, setting my books down on the kitchen counter. We had a lecture on patient care ethics, and then I had to rush to my clinical rotation. It's exhausting but fulfilling. He'd nod, his eyes lingering just a bit too long, making me feel both seen and uncomfortable in a way I couldn't quite explain. "You're doing great, Megan. I'm proud of you." "Thanks," I'd say, turning away to grab a glass of water, my shorts riding up slightly, the hem brushing against the white polish on my toes. Our conversations were often like this, filled with mundane checks on my studies, but layered with a silent acknowledgement of something more profound, something neither of us dared to address directly. One evening, I was studying at the kitchen table, my nursing textbooks spread out in front of me, my mind on the complexities of human anatomy when John walked in. "Still at it, huh? You'll be an amazing nurse one day." "I hope so," I replied, not looking up, my focus on the diagrams of the human heart. "It's just, sometimes I feel like I'm missing something, like there's more to learn about people than just what's in these books." John sat down opposite me, his gaze thoughtful. "You know, Megan, people are like puzzles. Sometimes understanding them requires looking beyond the pieces you can see." Our conversation shifted then, from academics to life, from my future as a nurse to understanding the intricacies of human relationships. It was in these moments, discussing life beyond textbooks, that I felt a connection to John, one that was both comforting and confusing. As the weeks passed, our home became a space of silent understandings and unspoken dialogues. My wardrobe remained consistent, the comfort of shorts and pastel shirts a constant, my feet always polished, a small rebellion against the chaos of college life. John and I continued to navigate this strange dance of closeness and distance, his presence in my life a constant reminder of the complexities of family, of love, and of the boundaries we set or fail to set. Each day at Johns Hopkins, learning about care, empathy, and the human condition, I was also learning about myself, about the intricate tapestry of emotions that family life can weave. My journey at university, both in academics and personal growth, has taught me that life isn't just about the clear-cut answers in textbooks, but about the gray areas where we learn the most about ourselves and others. And perhaps in understanding John, I was also beginning to understand a part of me I hadn't acknowledged before. One day, my mother announced she had an important job interview in Miami and would be away for a few days. "I'll be back before you know it, Megan," she said, packing her suitcase with the efficiency of someone used to quick trips. "Just look after the house, okay?" "Sure, Mom," I replied, though the thought of being alone with John for several days sent a mix of anxiety and curiosity through me. That night, I found myself alone with John in the quiet house. The silence was both peaceful and deafening. I decided to dive deeper into my studies, but the stress of school and the underlying tension at home made my sleep restless. Nightmares began to haunt my sleep, visions of failing my exams, of losing control over my life. One particular night, the nightmares were too much. Panting, I woke up, my heart racing, my mind a whirlwind of fear. I needed comfort, something familiar. In my half-awake state, I found myself walking to John's room. "John," I whispered, standing at his door, my voice barely above a whisper. I had a nightmare. Can I sleep here tonight?" John sat up, his expression soft under the dim light from the hallway. "Of course, Megan. Come here." Grateful, I slipped into his room, the warmth of the space a stark contrast to my cold, fear-filled dreams. But as I lay down, the exhaustion from the day overwhelmed me, my muscles aching from tension. Would you mind giving me a massage? I'm so tense." John looked at me, a moment of hesitation, then nodded. "Sure, lie down on your stomach." I changed into a more comfortable tank top and shorts, feeling the cool air of the room against my skin. John reached for the baby oil, the scent filling the room with a soothing aroma. His hands, I knew, were magic. He was famous in our family for his massages, a skill he'd picked up from years of physical labor and perhaps a natural talent. As his hands worked over my back, releasing knots I didn't even know existed, I felt the tension seep out of me. "You're so good at this," I mumbled into the pillow, my voice muffled but filled with relief. "I'm glad it helps," John replied, his voice calm, focusing on his task. His touch was professional, yet there was an intimacy in the act that neither of us could ignore. The room was silent, except for the occasional squelch of oil and our breathing. After a while, I turned to lie on my back, looking up at him. "Thank you, John. I feel much better now." He smiled, a genuine smile that reached his eyes. "Anytime, Megan. Now, let's try to get some sleep." We lay there side by side, not touching but close enough to feel each other's presence. The night was long, but with the nightmares at bay, I found a kind of peace, an odd comfort in this shared solitude. As I drifted off to sleep, I pondered the complexity of our relationship, the boundaries we navigated, and the unspoken bond that seemed to grow stronger in the quiet moments like these. The next day passed with a peculiar normalcy, a silent agreement between John and me to treat the previous night as something that just happened, neither to be forgotten nor dwelled upon. Yet, the undercurrents of what transpired between us were palpable. That evening, as the sun set, casting long shadows through the house, I found myself contemplating our interactions, the comfort I sought and found in his presence. My nightmares had ceased, but the comfort I felt near him was something I wanted to explore, if only a little more. After dinner, with the dishes cleared, I sat with John in the living room, a movie playing in the background, neither of us really watching. My feet, still adorned with the fresh white polish I loved, were propped on the coffee table, the polish catching the light. "John," I started, my voice tentative. "Last night, it really helped. I was wondering could you do something else for me tonight?" He looked over, his expression curious yet guarded. "What is it, Megan?" I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of what I was about to ask. Would you give my feet a massage? And maybe," my voice trailed off, but I gathered my courage, "maybe give them little kisses. I know it sounds weird, but it's comforting." John paused, his eyes shifting from my face to my feet, then back. There was a long moment of silence where I thought I might have crossed some invisible line, but then he nodded, a small, understanding smile forming. "If that's what you need, Megan." I moved to sit on the couch, pulling my legs up so my feet were in his lap. He took the bottle of baby oil from the night before, applying it gently to my feet, his touch both professional and tenderly personal. His hands worked over my arches, down to my toes, the sensation both relaxing and strangely intimate. As he massaged, I watched him, feeling a mix of emotions. When he finished the massage, he looked up at me, silently asking if this was all. I nodded slightly, encouraging him to continue. He then leaned down, his kisses light, barely touching my skin, a soft brush against my toes, each kiss a whisper of something more. It was innocent yet charged, a moment of connection that felt both out of place and perfectly right. Thank you, John, I whispered, my voice thick with emotion I couldn't name. I needed that. He sat back up, his eyes meeting mine, a complexity there that mirrored my own feelings. I'm here for you, Megan. Always. We didn't speak much after that, but the silence was comfortable, filled with an understanding that this was our way of navigating the complexities of our relationship, of care and comfort that transcended the conventional boundaries of family. As I lay in bed that night, my mind was at peace. The day's events, a confusing yet comforting puzzle piece in the larger picture of my life with John. It was clear to me now that our bond was something unique, something to be handled with care, respect, and perhaps a little more openness about the comfort we both sought in each other. The last day before my mother's return was charged with an anticipation I couldn't quite name. The house felt both too big and too small, filled with the echoes of our recent interactions. As the evening approached, I found myself more conscious than ever of John's presence, his every move, his every look. After dinner, once we'd cleaned up, I knew I wanted something more definitive, something to set this day apart from the others. John, I said, my voice steady but low, can we talk upstairs? He looked at me, an understanding in his eyes that went beyond words. We headed to his room, where the air seemed to hold its breath, waiting for what would come next. Once inside, I turned to him, feeling the weight of my decision. I've been feeling so much better these last few days, thanks to you. Tonight, I want something more. I want to feel connected in every way. John's expression was one of concern mixed with a soft acknowledgement. What do you mean, Megan? I stepped closer, the distance between us closing. Can you kiss me? My neck, my stomach, and then my feet again. I want us to sleep together tonight, just like this, just us. He paused, looking into my eyes, searching for any sign of hesitation, but there was none. I was sure of what I wanted, of the comfort I sought. He nodded, a silent agreement to explore this new boundary. Starting with my neck, his kisses were gentle, tracing a path that sent shivers down my spine. Each kiss was like a note in a melody, soft and meaningful. Moving down, he kissed my stomach, his lips warm against my skin, each touch a bridge between comfort and something more intimate. Finally, he knelt at my feet, those white polished toes that had become a symbol of our shared moments. His kisses there were tender, a continuation of the night before, sealing the bond we were forming. I want us to be close, like this, all night, I whispered, my voice a mix of vulnerability and desire. Can we just be close? John, understanding the gravity and the simplicity of what I was asking, nodded. Okay, Megan. We undressed to our comfort, shedding the layers that kept us apart, both literally and metaphorically. Lying down beside each other, the touch was constant, a reassurance. His hand on my arm, my leg brushing against his. These were the silent affirmations of our connection. As we lay there, the darkness of the room enveloping us, the feeling was one of peace, of a boundary crossed with mutual consent, of a comfort found in the most unexpected of places. We didn't speak much, but the silence was not empty. It was filled with the understanding of two people navigating the complexities of care, affection, and what it means to be family in every sense of the word. That night, I slept with a sense of completeness, the comfort of John's touch a lullaby into a dreamless, peaceful sleep, knowing that whatever this was, it was ours to understand and cherish. Psikolojik etkiler, aile dinamikleri daha duygusal.